So I did my FSc from Kinnaird College. I did my MBBS from King Edward Medical College. I graduated in 2011, and I also did 1 year of house job. House job की completion के बाद I started taking my steps. Plan तो ये था कि during house job, but I will take my step 1 at least, but obviously it becomes harder. So step 1 दिया, then I got married in 2013. Step 1 मैंने पहले दिया था, step 2 मैंने शादी के बाद. तो step 2 और CS मैंने शादी के बाद दिया था, और CS हम लोग करने और rotations करने हम लोग इकट्ठे आए थे यहाँ पे.
ठीक है.
So I didn't do any electives. Interestingly, though I know like my parents were like very open-minded with everything, like पढ़ो ये करो, लेकिन electives के मामले में they were like a little bit hesitant that, oh, I don't have any relatives in US, and they were just not comfortable letting me go alone. So I just like let it go. I was like, okay, whatever. So electives नहीं किए थे. उसके बाद clinical observerships और rotations की थी. We knew some people. उनको contact किया, एक rotation मिली, उससे next like, okay, if you know someone else, if you can recommend us. So इस तरह करते करते हमें, and we were like all over the place, like पूरे US में different जगहों पे rotations थी, traveling a lot. और 2015 में apply किया. So now challenging question ये था कि हम दोनों match apply कर रहे थे, whether we should apply couple, whether we should apply individually. काफी लोगों से बातें पूछा और different लोगों के different opinions थे. कुछ लोग ये कह रहे थे साथ pro इकट्ठे match, you apply as a couple. Some people are saying if you apply as a couple, you both won't match. So what we ended up doing is we applied individually. दोनों ने अपने individually apply किया, और end में rank order list से पहले there is an option like where you can basically control your list. You can make combinations the way you want. और हम जब जो calls हमें इकट्ठे आई थी, वहाँ पे हमने उनको जरूर बताया कि ओ हम दोनों जो हैं applied individually, but actually we are a couple and we're gonna participate in couple match like in the rank order list.
सही.
So calls भी आ गई. जब rank order list बनाई, काफी सारे combinations बने, like weird combinations. एक program के साथ दूसरा, दूसरे के साथ तीसरा. I go on match, you go on match. It was a mess. So we like literally the combinations were like in hundreds, because the possibilities are you can match any program with anything, because we didn't want to go unmatched. So वो जब result आया, तो okay, so it's interesting. We matched together, but we went down on our list. So we ranked at our like eighth rank order list. Like ये just program में match with it was 8th. Or both Noman and I, we wanted to do fellowship. We were aiming for the programs, just my in-house fellowships, and there are more like opportunities to grow further, like apna career. But we ended up going to a community hospital, which wasn't bad, but initially we weren't too happy about it. But then again, like it's life moves on. So anyways, residency complete ki. Residency ke dauran, like since we were both on H-1B visa, so I was pretty much sure that I'm not gonna apply, like if I'm going for a comparative fellowship, I'm not gonna apply on H-1, so I'm gonna wait. So I had some time. I took some time initially to figure out like if it's actually a right fit for me. क्योंकि लोगों से ये सुनते थे, oh, it's very hard for females, बहुत कम इस field में है, it's lifestyle ऐसा है, you won't be able to do. My husband wanted to do critical care, and when people used to hear like, oh, वो critical care कर रहा है, तुम primary care कर लो, तुम कुछ और कर लो, कोई और field कर लो ऐसी जिसमें ज़्यादा hectic ना हो. But honestly, like I did my rotations, और मैंने openly explore भी की थी some specialties. Like I did rotations. I was like, okay, everyone is saying this, I should explore. But honestly, I really ended up liking this field, and there are people who encouraged me to continue this. मैंने ये भी सुना था during our program when I used to tell people कि 2 साल wait करना है, green card के बाद apply करना है, and people were like, oh, this is a wishful thinking. पहली बात ये कि so community से cardiology में जाना is hard. दूसरी बात ये, you're going to be an old graduate after 2 years, and they don't look attractive anymore. Like people, they are not an attractive candidates, so unki profile is not that good. So you are what you are thinking is a wishful thinking. If you're thinking you're going to apply, just apply this year, like apply right in your second year. Finding research opportunities from that place was also challenging, because you know, like इतनी ज़्यादा कोई robust research तो हो नहीं रही होती. So anyways, मैंने एक project second year में शुरू किया था in cardiac rehab with an old professor who was like lingering on with this project for like forever. So I took it, I completed it. ACP में मैंने as a oral presentation उसको present किया, abstract उसका publish हुआ, manuscript लिखा. So I got like some research productivity. Residency खत्म हुई, उसके बाद we were looking for programs जो कि academic programs हैं जहाँ पे research की opportunities हो. दूसरा, we were also thinking like honestly जितना 3 साल में देखा था, the name of the institution matters a lot. Like आप कहाँ से आ रहे हो, आपने किधर काम किया, it speaks for itself. Like rather अगर आप सोचो कि काम तो हर जगह एक ही हो रहा है, लेकिन it does matter, like it's a fact. तो जो चीज़ मैंने, क्योंकि मेरा 2 साल का वेट था, I didn't want to screw it up. मुझे already I was worried के will I match, will I not match, I'm old graduate. So I sat with the dean of medicine at my institute, जो कि cardiology के program director रह चुके हैं रोचेस्टर में for 20 years. And I asked him, what you look for in the candidate? क्योंकि लोगों ने मुझे बताया था 250 स्कोर होना चाहिए, पब्लिकेशंस इस तरह होनी चाहिए, मतलब जो प्रोफाइल आपको पता चलती है कि a lot of publications. Yeah. So interestingly, I will tell here like openly कि मेरे scores बहुत stellar scores नहीं थे. I didn't have 250s. I had decent scores. Like my step 1 was 238, my step 2 was 235, and step 3 was 232. So like in that range. But I always heard that you need to have double 250s to apply like any competitive fellowship, जो कि एक myth है. And I know like मैंने उसामा का भी interview सुना था, and he was absolutely right. Like it's one factor, but it's not all. So what he told me, basically 3 things जो कि मैं और बाकी लोगों को भी जो कि cardiology apply करना चाहते हैं and they want to do fellowship. Basically it's a recipe. You have to create that recipe. He told me scores more than 230 is fine. Yes, 250, 40 looks good, but it's not the only thing. He's like, I won't look at the candidate who only have scores and does not have anything else. Commitment to research, he also told me that make sure you first authored some manuscripts, and if you are the first author on 3 or 4, that is better than being like 5th, 6th, or 7th in line on like 10 different papers. So that was what he told me. And dusra, letter of recommendations. He told me letter of recommendations need to be stellar. And he clearly quoted like some of the things which needs to be in the letter, जो कि हम देखते हैं, और letter of recommendation कैसा होना चाहिए. Journey start हुआ. Hospitalist. Initially, for what I did, like literally, like during the orientation, 2 weeks orientation, जैसे मुझे email address the official email address मिला University of Pittsburgh का, I reached out to people. Like मैंने काफी लोगों को email की, सिर्फ उनको जिनका मुझे पता था कि who are actively involved in research and are doing some research productivity. Like मैंने 6-7 लोगों को तो की होंगी emails जो कि मुझे सिर्फ 2 ने reply किया. एक project already उस पर कोई फेलो काम कर रहा था जिसमें मुझे उन्होंने कहा कि I'm interested. और initially like वो kind of like इस तरह का project नहीं था कि I am doing like something really productive for them. It was just like a lot of data gathering. Like आपको मतलब they were pending like a lot of hundreds of patients. So I asked him like, is it possible कि मुझे कोई अपना project दे दें? Is there any idea? I want to work on it. तो उन्होंने मुझे ये कहा कि वो हमारी preference पहले fellows होते हैं, तुम ये करो and we'll see later on क्या होता है. So I started on that project, like रोज के 100, 120 जितने भी मैंने chart reviews वो कर data Excel sheet में डालना और transfer करना वो किया. दूसरी जो attending थे उनके पास गई, उन्होंने मुझे कहा कि अच्छा ठीक है, तो तुम अपने ideas लेके आओ. अगर तुमने खुद research करनी है, you want to start a project of your own, like bring ideas to me. And you know, like that was challenging for me initially because आपके पास कितना experience होता है research का हमारा, like especially even training में, throughout your training, like हमने वो experience नहीं किया होता कि we are like de novo think like of some idea and just like present. But I, as a kind of challenge, I was like, okay, जितना तो मेरे ज़हन में आता है, whatever. So I read his papers, like उसके interests क्या हैं, उसने पहले publications क्या की हुई हैं, what kind of things he's looking for, like in future ideas. And I came up with like 4 or 5 different ideas. उस पे मैंने background search की, उनको सारा लिखा, and I wrote like 4 or 5 different sheets of paper. और like कुछ weeks के बाद I met him again. Like मैंने उसको वो दिखाए ideas, and he like उसने मतलब मुझे काफी positive feedback दिया. And interestingly, उसी that moment में, like he just literally, oh, I have this interesting idea. What do you think about that? Like do some research and we'll start it. He literally gave me a project like right away. So what I thought like from that thing, he probably उसके पास idea पहले भी था. He was just testing के or that's what people do. Like they won't give you, like when you're meeting them for the first time, they won't like, oh okay ye project pada hua hai wo idea is pe kaam karo, because they want someone who can complete the project. So interestingly उसमें मुझे 2 दफा मैं यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ पिट्सबर्ग के मेडिकल स्कूल में लेक्चर देने गई हूँ, उनके मैथ स्कूल्स के 3rd ईयर और 4th ईयर स्टूडेंट्स को, वो मैंने दिए. उसके बाद आई वाज इन्वॉल्व विद द ग्रुप, मीटिंग्स में जाना, scheduling committees, ये वो. I just wanna tell them that I am present, like so that they know, क्योंकि later on अगर मैं इनसे लेटर मांग रही हूँ, if I want them to write my letter, I don't want them to say कि उनके पास कुछ होना चाहिए ना लेटर में लिखने के लिए, otherwise वो क्या करेंगे, काम पे आती थी और चली जाती थी, and there are like many people who does that. Interestingly मेरा ग्रीन कार्ड जल्दी आ गया, 38 साल में I got my green card. So then I started looking at कि अच्छा अब मैं फारिग हूँ, एक और ईयर, मतलब जब मैं अप्लाई कर रही होंगी, it will be my 3rd year of hospitalist, so I would rather look at non-accredited fellowship. Interestingly यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ पिट्सबर्ग में एक नई फेलोशिप स्टार्ट हुई थी एमिलाइडोसिस की, और उनका दूसरा साल था जब मैंने उनको रीच आउट किया, एंड दैट वाज फिल्ड. वो जो बंदा पहले साल कर रहा था उसी ने कंटिन्यू कर लिया. My preference was to live in Pittsburgh, closer to my husband. वो वहाँ पे है कि 1 साल के लिए मैंने कहाँ जाना है. And I spoke with one of our junior. उन्होंने मुझे कहा कि तुम 3 जगहों पे अप्लाई करके सोच रही हो कि तुम्हें कोई नॉन accredited fellowship मिल जाएगी, तो they are not that easy to get into. Like they are available, but cardiology fellows नहीं करते, लेकिन they are still competitive because a lot of candidates are applying at the same time. तो मुझे कहते हैं why not you apply a little bit more broadly. तो अब जब ये बात आई, तो that means that I'm gonna go away from my husband. So that was a difficult decision. Is it like really worth it? Am I gonna go? So it was a mutual decision. Me and Oman sat down. मैंने उसे बता दिया था, मैंने कहा कि ठीक है मैं इसके बगैर ही apply कर लूँगी. And he understood like how competitive this is, and he understood that if I have a chance, at least I should apply. So we sat down. हमने कुछ shortlist kiye program. I didn't apply everywhere because I didn't want to go there, like some states I didn't want to go there, Alabama, Nebraska. I was living alone and I wasn't comfortable going to these states, so I didn't apply there. Anyways, I applied, और मुझे 2 जगहों से calls आई, 3 जगहों से calls आई थी. So anyways, Cedars ने interview किया. My interview went well, and guess what, like इन्होंने मेरे 2 interviews किए थे. They always मुझे था कि I wasn't too sure. I was like, oh, Cedars Sinai, one of the best programs in West Coast. I don't know, like पता नहीं मेरा interview कर लिया. But they actually मैं पहले interview में clear हो गई थी, and then they asked me the second one. Now we want you to interview with our faculty. Initially, program director ने interview किया, and then they wanted me to meet the whole department faculty. मैंने उस इंटरव्यू के लिए मैंने तैयारी की थी. I looked up everything because that was the only call left. I only have 3 and this was the 3rd one. So but I just gave it up, like okay देखा जाएगा जो भी होगा. So एक दिन they just sent me an offer कि we interviewed or blah. Literally like उस time I didn't know like what to say. Like West Coast means like I'm going like continent, like literally for me it was a continent apart, like it's states apart. So anyways, Noman ghar aaya, and I told him like I matched, and then they're accepting me, and then I started crying. Like literally I started crying. I never lived alone. Like since I came here, I don't know what to do. Like there are a lot of things as a couple, like we both share responsibilities. Like it's not like one person is responsible and other. So anyways, बस उसके बाद अब मैं बैठी हुई हूँ कि अब मैं accept करूँ कि मैं reject करूँ. Offer Cedars Sinai से आई हुई है, तो वो भी आपको reject करते हुए भी आप 10 दफा सोचोगे. Anyways, I came here to Cedars. अब Cedars में the things that they were doing, microvascular ischemia, CRT, reactivity testing, all this was like very new to me. Like half of the stuff I didn't even understand, and now I'm a fellow there. So अब क्या किया जाए? Like half of the terminology तो मुझे पूछते हुए भी होता था. The way they're like, should I ask? Like, what should I do? So I started reading about it. Like चीजें पढ़ी, समझी. Like and उनके पास Cedars have 3 fellows in this fellowship. So I was the MRI like fellow who was responsible for all the MRI scans and all that. And MRI was like totally different for me, like uski terminologies, like a T1 mapping, ECV kya hai, pre-post contrast, like it was too much for me. Like just like right after the training, I had no experience whatsoever. I started in July. मेरी दफा मैच जो था वो one month delay हुआ था. It was in August. मुझे लोगों ने ये भी मशवरे दिए कि अब तुम यहाँ आ गई हो, ask them for a letter, like tell them you started in July. After a month, ask them for a letter of recommendation. So I did. I asked them for a letter of recommendation, and they told me they can write a letter for me, but they told me how important letter is for fellowship. The same thing जो कि मुझे बार-बार program directors कह रहे थे सारे. It has to be stellar, otherwise it doesn't mean anything. They're like, we can give you a letter. We know that you are very hardworking, you're responsible, and things like that. Generic चीजें जो सारे जो कि norm है. But we need to know you more to write you a really personalized letter. So whether you want to have a letter or not. So उन्होंने मुझे मेरे हाथ में डाल दिया कि आप letter चाहिए इस तरह का या नहीं. Which I said no, because I know कि मुझे क्या बताया गया था कि letter किस तरह का होना चाहिए, and I don't want someone to say hardworking, coming to work, punctual. Like अच्छा, उसके बाद मैच अप्लाई किया, मुझे इंटरव्यू कॉल्स थी, मेरे ख्याल से 10 or 11 इंटरव्यू कॉल्स थी. उसमें से मैं सारे इंटरव्यूज देने गई थी. But honestly, I went to some interviews where I felt like this field is really male dominating, or there were some people who were upfront like saying stuff like, oh बंदियां तो बस ये करने के बाद ये कर लेती हैं, intervention नहीं होती उनसे, बंदियों का ये होता, मतलब people were saying, their fellows were saying these things, their faculty members were asking, what are your family plans? How are you going to live without your family if you match here because your family is there, like personalized questions. Like इस सारे process के दौरान साइट पे ये था कि मेरे हस्बैंड ने भी मैच अप्लाई किया हुआ था, उसको यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ पिट्सबर्ग से प्री मैच ऑफर आ गया था and he took it. मुझे पिट्सबर्ग से कोई कॉल्स नहीं थी, पिट्सबर्ग में वैसे ही 2 प्रोग्राम्स हैं, और मुझे उसके आसपास से कॉल्स थी, रेडिंग से थी, गाइसिंगर से मुझे कॉल थी. But the problem was I had better calls, like in programs से ज़्यादा मेरे पास अच्छी calls थी. This was the toughest decision, I will say. Like मैं looking back, I feel अगर मुझे पिट्सबर्ग से call आती, like उस area से आती, I won't think a moment. Like I will just do it. I was like, doesn't matter, Allegheny है, community or whatever, जो भी programs हैं, even कोई और भी program होता, अगर पिट्सबर्ग में होता, so I wouldn't have given it a second thought. But now that I didn't have call from that area, I was just questioning, like 2 साल की मेहनत, ये सब कुछ खजल खवारी करने के बाद, is it really worth it कि मैं एक प्रोग्राम जो पेंसिल्वेनिया में बिल्कुल नया ब्रांड न्यू, उनका मेरे यहाँ से दूसरा मैच था इस साल, will I go there, will I be happy, like a lot of things. कुछ जगहों पे पेंसिल्वेनिया में इंटरव्यू दिया, I didn't get good experience. Like the interview experience told me कि I'm gonna be just there as just a representation कि हमने एक बंदी बस भी रख लिया इस साल, लेकिन mostly they had the same mentality. I didn't have good experience at all. And so I was thinking, if I don't match, I did well at Cedars, and they enrolled me in their clinical scholars program. So I was in their clinical scholars program, which was preparing me for grant writing. And I was thinking, and it's a 1-year commitment. So I was thinking, if I didn't match, मैं probably ये program complete करूँगी, मैं एक funded grant लिखूँगी, and then probably my chance is gonna be better, like really better, to go to a better place. तो मेरे पास एक थोड़ा सा बैकअप प्लान था जिसकी वजह से मुझे थोड़ा सा बफर था. Otherwise, obviously, like not ranking program is something unusual. But now I know कि जिस फील्ड में मैं जा रही हूँ, I have to be first of all perform better than men. Like एक general perception है कि बंदी है आ गई है पता नहीं काम होना या नहीं. You have to perform better than them. That's what I feel. Like I feel for us, it's hard. It's like an uphill climb. Otherwise, you're not good enough. So it's not easy to go through all this. But I want you to, all the people who are hearing all these things, that there are some constructive criticism and there are some criticism which are destructive, like which make you think, like, is there something wrong with me? Rank order list submit कराई, उसके बाद question ये था कि who gonna vouch for me? Like, पहली बात तो ये, will anyone will vouch for me? And who will be that person? So जिनके साथ यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ पिट्सबर्ग में काम किया था, उनको रीच आउट किया कि जिनके साथ मैंने फर्स्ट ऑथर मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट पब्लिश किया और प्रोजेक्ट्स वगैरह किए, कि will you be comfortable reaching out to this program, जो कि मेरी top choice है, reaching out to this program. Or I was ready, like maybe वो क्योंकि they worked with me on the research project, they don't know me clinically कि मैं कैसी हूँ and my work ethics and all that. So anyways, surprisingly उन्होंने मुझे reply back किया, अच्छा response दिया. Now came the second person I reached out to was this program director at Cedars, who was my program fellowship program director. Right? उन्होंने मुझे मतलब सरप्राइजिंगली मुझे था यार फिर ना इनकार हो जाए. पहले उन्होंने कहा कि लेटर जो है वो महीने बाद तुम्हें मैं क्या लिखूं. मैंने कहा अब भी 6-7 महीने हुए होंगे, 4-5-6 महीने हुए होंगे since I joined. तो मैंने कहा मांगू ना मांगू. Anyways मैंने उनको email की. And surprisingly, she gave me like very positive reply, like, oh yeah, I can definitely reach out and blah blah blah. Anyways, इन दो लोगों ने email की थी. University of Pittsburgh actually called my first 2 programs that I ranked. वहाँ पे और इन्होंने वो email भेजी थी उनको. They showed me the email actually later on. So I will tell you, it was very objective. Like everything you are doing will be there. Like no one will oversell things, but interestingly, they literally wrote like, I have worked with so many people and she is X, Y, and Z. So these are the things which are considered good letter. This is what I wanted them to write. Like that's why मैंने उनसे पहले नहीं लिया था, letter नहीं लिया था. कि वो कहेंगे hardworking, punctual, excellent. No, I don't want that. So they really wrote a really good email that they sent to the programs that I ran. Pittsburgh वालों ने email की, I didn't see that emails. All my letters were waived, so मैंने नहीं देखे. एक letter पे मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा वो था कि पता नहीं कैसा होगा, क्या होगा उसके अंदर, जो कि बाद में मैंने program coordinator से कहा मुझे जरा ना letter, क्योंकि उसने upload किया था and I was in like good friends with her. तो मैंने उसे कहा कि मुझे ना hospitalist director का जो letter है ना, क्योंकि that was the one which was eating me up because I know मेरे प्रोग्राम डायरेक्टर जो है रेजिडेंसी के वो उसने अच्छा लिखना है बिकॉज आई नेवर हैड एनी इशू देयर. ये 2 साल मुझे था कि पता नहीं क्या होगा उस लेटर में, उसमें वो चीजें होंगी भी जो कि मैंने इतनी एक्स्ट्रा एफर्ट्स की हैं अपने ऑफ टाइम में जा के काम किए हैं. तो इंटरेस्टिंगली शी शोड मी द लेटर एंड इट हैज एवरीथिंग. लाइक उसने ये चीजें मेंशन की थी कि हमारे डिपार्टमेंट के लिए ये कितनी हेल्पफुल है, इसने इन चीजों में काम किया, इसने ये चीजें. So this is what you need. Like honestly, if you go to work as a hospitalist waiting for 2 years, and there is a myth. Like I was told like before I started all this, कि हाँ बस green card मिल जाए fellowship match हो जाती है. No, like if you're going for a competitive fellowship, you need to have that recipe. Like otherwise, I have seen people जो कि ये path follow करते हैं, and then it's an uphill climb. Like अगर आप 2-3 सालों के बाद मैच नहीं होते, every year you need to be better version of yourself, which is harder. So I will say to all these people who are waiting, yes, visa does matter, and but everyone understands. Like interview में मुझे लोगों ने पूछा था directly, hey, what was the reason that I didn't apply? Was I not sure that I'm going to do cardiology, or I had any personal issues? And I upfront told them I was on an H-1B visa and it was not conducive for me. Like my options were very limited, and they all understand. So be honest, that it was a visa issue, and everyone does understand that. But at the same time, मुझे इंटरव्यू में खासतौर पे मेरे जो पहले 3 प्रोग्राम्स जिन्हें मैंने रैंक किया था, जहाँ पे मुझे अच्छा रिस्पॉन्स भी आया था, उन्होंने सबने ये चीज मेंशन की थी कि हमारे पास लोग आते हैं आफ्टर, वी सी अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल हु अप्लाई आफ्टर बीइंग अ हॉस्पिटलिस्ट. बट इंटरेस्टिंगली तुमने सीम्स लाइक कि तुमने काफी बीच में ये एकेडमिक काम, रिसर्च, तुम काफी प्रोडक्टिव रही हो 2 साल. मतलब ये स्पेसिफिकली लोगों ने मेंशन किया था because a lot of people don't do that. These are their words. और ये मुझे एक नहीं 2-3 programs ने कहा था. So all the people who are waiting before they apply, I will tell them it's very easy to get distracted. Believe me, it's hard. Like there are times like जब के ऑफ टाइम में दिल ही नहीं चाह रहा होता था कोई काम करने का कि यार कुछ भी नहीं करना, आज घर बैठना है, आज ना कोई पढ़ाई की बातें, ना कोई रिसर्च का काम. लेकिन you have to do it because आपकी completion deadlines हैं, आप नहीं करोगे it's gonna affect you directly. जिस बंदे का project है वो तो खैर कोई आपने नहीं complete किया तो वो उसको कोई और मिल जाएगा, but it directly affects you. तो मेरा ये है कि do something, like make sure you are productive, be involved with the group. Like all these things will speak for itself. Like people will know, okay, you can work and you have potential and you have interest. So anyways, rank order list bana di. As I said, like rank us tarah kiye in the order of my preferences rather than based on area, or ready the mentally ke it gonna be we have to be a part for the training. This was also a decision जो कि आप इस तरह नहीं मतलब wasn't easy. Like आप बैठ के एक दिन नहीं ये सोचते कि हाँ मैंने वहीं जाना है और मैं जा रही हूँ या मैं जा, and it works both ways. Like even if I'm not talking about any specific gender, when you are a couple, you have mutual goals. And I guess I personally believe there is power in numbers. Like वो उर्दू में होता नहीं एक से भले दो. So I personally, when the match came, I matched to University of Texas San Antonio, which is again like far apart. Like it's not even like closer to Pennsylvania at all. So it's again like states away. So that's gonna be a challenge, I feel, like obviously, and it's not like something that I'm like, oh, so happy about it. I didn't know, like every time like something happened, I don't know how to express my emotions. Like khush hu, na hu, it's a mixed emotions for me, or every time it's a mixed emotion. Like non-accredited mili, achhi jagah mili, yes, great, but then it came with a price. Ab match hui, achhi jagah hui, it's a great program, people are awesome, but then again, I paid the price. So whatever you do, you always pay its price. That's what I feel. Sometimes, like again, like you will go back and think, like in the end, is it all like worth it? Like all your journey, whatever you did, ye sari khajal khawari aur jo bhi hai. So I will say, so I'm not afraid of failing. I'm afraid of living with regrets. Like for example, if I want to do something, like I have an idea, maine fellowship karni hai, and I tried it, I failed like 2 times, 3 times, whatever, and I gave up. That's totally fine with me. Like I was fine with it, like trying and failing, but never trying and 10 years from now thinking like बैठ के सोच रहे हैं अच्छा हम भी कर लेते हमें क्या था मतलब this is something which I can't live with. So I feel like if this is who you are, like you cannot live with the regret, then it's always worth trying, like what you aim for, and always aim and reach for the highest. Like I feel always have highest standard, high goals. Like people will tell you this is wishful thinking, dimag kharab hai, aise nahi hota. But I personally feel in that process of reaching that goal, at least you will come up to something. अगर आप पहले ही नहीं सोच रहे, पहले ही छोटा सोच रहे तो you won't get anywhere. So it's okay to dream big. Like it's okay, but there is a difference, like dreaming and actually doing. So मेरे ख्याल से कि for me it was give your best. If you fail, try another time. If you fail, okay, you have done your job. Like you don't have to be miserable like all your life achieving something which you already gave your best shot. So you have to work hard, but you have to work smart.